Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're here and it's time for another episode of the Racing Debrief. And today we have some NASCAR to talk about from Phoenix and F1 in Saudi Arabia. So let's start with the F1 portion. I guess that was the first of the three races that took place this weekend. And yeah, jump right on the race. Obviously, Max dominated another race, pretty much leading all but 5 laps, a little bit under the safety car at the beginning after Lance Stroll hit the wall and yeeted himself in the barrier. After that, Lando Norris had the lead for a few laps, but Max quickly got ahead of him and dominated from there. So another dominant win from him, 9 wins in a row again. Only driver ever to do that twice, and I mean, one of only two drivers to ever win 9 races in a row, along with Sebastian Vettel. So, yeah, just overall impressive. Again, going for 10 in a row again. Next race in Australia in 2 weeks. So, we'll see what happens there. Other things throughout the F1 race, of course, after Lance Stroll hit the wall, bringing out the safety car. Most drivers just pit and they run hard tires for the rest of the race, so not really much happened there. You had Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton. Those are the main two that stayed out, and they ended up obviously falling back a little bit when they had to pit. But yeah, just overall, kind of an interesting event of nothing happening. I think some of the F1 races you get that, and again, there wasn't any safety cars late, so everybody just pit and we're on hard tires from essentially lap 8, something like that. It was 8 or 9 till the end of the race. So 40 laps of manage your tires, basically. So a lot of that in that race. Of course, you had Oliver Behrman, who came in for Carlos Sainz, who was out with appendicitis. So he was out. And Behrman pulled up and got a good result. I believe he got 6th. So he jumped up a few spots after Lando and Lewis both had to make their pit stops. So overall, just a impressive result for a rookie driver to jump in. I believe he's 10th in the points right now after 2 races. So that's that's interesting. Of course, he's not gonna finish in 10th, but to be there at the start of the season, again, impressive to jump in as a rookie and score those points and bring a result that Ferrari would want. Getting 6 points for Ferrari is going to be key, and getting the best result you can as a rookie, and again, scoring points in place of Carlos Sainz. You're not that many spots down from where he would have finished. Again, I believe Barron finished 6th or 7th, so Sainz probably would have finished 4th or 5th. So to not be that far off from that is impressive. So deserving driver of the day for sure. Outside of that, you had the Haas. Kevin Magnussen picked up 20 seconds worth of penalties through collisions and track limits. I guess they've added in track limits to be 10 seconds instead of 5 seconds to kind of enforce that, because again, drivers would just say, sure, I'll take a 5-second penalty and then just drive away from whoever you're past the track limit. So making it 10 seconds is going to hurt a little bit more, but there they can enforce track limits a little bit more. So Kevin Magnussen had that, and he collided with Alex Albon. So his race is pretty much over. He slowed down, especially through some of the more narrow sections of the track. Slowed down, stacked up the rest of the drivers behind him, led Nico Hülkenberg, who also hadn't pit. He was one of the drivers that had stayed out. I believe he was like 9th or 10th. So it was him and Zhou Guanyu that didn't pit. So they were chilling right at the back, and he just makes that gap so that way Hülkenberg can pit and get back on the track and score points. So Haas got a point out of that. So interesting. And a lot of people maybe weren't the biggest fan of it, but that's what the racing presents itself. So it's a bit unfortunate, but that's just the way that it is. So yeah, again, good strategy within what you got to do. So that was the that was the race. So we'll see what happens. Of course, they have a week off, so we'll see what else happens in between then and now. But we got a week off from F1, so good start to the season for Red Bull and for Max, and we'll see how it carries on. Moving on to the NASCAR portion of today's video, we had the Xfinity race. So there's no trucks this weekend. They were off for Phoenix, which I believe Xfinity's off next week. So it's just truck and cup next week. So Xfinity, it was pretty much just some guys driving around. There really wasn't much action in it. I do think that the Cup race is actually a little bit better than the Xfinity race. Thinking on what when I had more enjoyment watching, the Xfinity race was definitely like pretty much just Chandler Smith and Jonathan Nemechek pulling up, doing their thing. And you had a late caution on the back straight. You had a caution, which was Haley Deegan slightly going sideways on the track, which shouldn't have been a caution, which then led to a big caution on the back straight. Cars getting sideways, everybody piling in. A little bit of a red flag there. Justin Allgaier just dominates for a while. I mean, he was way ahead. Way ahead. Had the race locked down. Chandler Smith was in second. And it was over, right? Race is over. Justin Allgaier's going to win the race. But that rear tire goes down. Going into turn number 1 with, I believe, 4 laps to go. Spins it out. He's in the wall. Big crash. Obviously frustrated. Very disappointing for him. You know, you're in that spot to win a race. To have the tires go down. Go into the wall like that. Just so unfortunate. You hate to see that happen to anybody, you know, when they're out there leading, about to win the race. So Chandler Smith comes through and does get the win. And, you know, that's what happens, I guess, in some of these races. But, yeah, no, it's definitely unfortunate for Justin Allgaier. But Chandler Smith got the win on the first of 2 wins for Toyota on the weekend. So we move now to the Cup race. So, you know, a lot of discussion of would the new aerodynamic package do anything? Would the new tires do anything on the track? You know, would we see a lot of passing? Would the short track racing become better? You know, the little diffuser with only 2 strikes on it now instead of like 5. I believe it had a bigger spoiler. We talked about this in a preview video back about a month and a half ago on the channel, but I'm trying to remember all the things that there was. I know the tires were a little different compound, but it didn't really do much. And again, a lot of the drivers said that. And again, most people who watch racing and understand it, and again, drivers, team members, fans that understand that technical side of it and understand the racing aspect of it, know you need to have more power in the cars. That's going to be the difference on the short tracks. Put higher horsepower on the cars, right? They can't pass, and especially with the shifting into the 5th gear, right? It's going to make it harder to do anything. So you need to have more power. I mean, Denny Hamlin said it. He said as a phone call, you can make the cars to have more power. I believe he said, ask Jim Franz there isn't any more horsepower in the cars, right? Like, is some of that's going to be a difference, and you just don't see that. So, again, there wasn't that much passing on equal, you know, tires. Besides the first few laps of a restart, nobody really passed. So you had a situation where you had a first, you know, crash on the beginning of the race. It was Derek Kraus spun. Austin Dillon hit him. Also Cindric, they crashed. So you had that crash, right? Early in the race. But after that, there was no crashes or no caution. Until the end of stage 1 and then the end of stage 2. That was it. There was nothing the rest of the race. The only way you had passing was, again, a little bit of tire strategy. Somebody pit a little bit later or whatever. Or some of the drivers had better long run cars or short run cars. Ty Gibbs had a really good car at the start of the race, led the first bunch of laps, and the car kind of fell off, right? I believe he led 57 to start the race and, got close to the end of that stage. Winning stage one was Tyler Reddick, but Ty Gibbs was close to that. And his car fell off, so he got passed by a lot of people. But unless you had a car that, like his, that was going to fall off, because again, you've seen it in stage two, you've seen it in stage three, his car would fall back. And you had some of the cars, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, they could move forward. But those are pretty much the only drivers I really noticed throughout the race that you could see moving through the field, whether it's forward or backwards. A lot of the drivers were kind of just chilling in a similar area. Maybe one pass, fall back, past kind of the same guys. It wasn't that much of really racing each other and going up and gaining 3 spots or whatever. Like, again, besides the restarts where they all fan out 5, 6 wide, go around the top or go around the bottom and try to make something happen. You didn't see that. It really wasn't that type of racing. The only thing that was really, interesting throughout the race, before we started getting some of the cautions, I think you had, who was the first crash? I know you had John Nemechek absolutely sending Joe Logano. Oh, Kyle Busch spun. Kyle Busch spun after the end of stage 2. The restart there, he spun. Then you had John Nemechek send Joe Logano into the corner. Interesting there. Joe Logano said you got to brake for the corner. John Nemechek said Joe Logano braked too early. Who knows who was right in that unless you're looking at the data and comparing them for that corner. It's going to be hard to tell from one straight on angle. So, whatever, you had that crash, and then you had Denny Hamlin just solo spin. He got a little loose underneath. Tyler Reddick spun out. That was it, though. Like, besides those restarts, there's not really an opportunity for drivers to make up spots. And again, on one of the cautions, the Joe Logano crash, a few guys pit, went a little bit longer, and then other drivers pit when Denny Hamlin spun. Then you had Martin Truex stay out, and you had Ryan Preece stay out. And I think, Ross Chastain might have stayed out a little bit, or he pit the caution before or something. So you had that. You had some of the guys that didn't pit at all, and then you had some guys that pit under one caution. And that's kind of how the field moved through. So you had a little bit of movement there, but again, it was on differentiating strategies where guys are on 4 tires, 2 tires. So the cars themselves weren't really doing it. It was the tire difference in the wear. So I'd say overall the package wasn't great. Didn't really do much. Again, I think you need more power. That's really it. You're going to get more power. You're going to get cars wearing out the tires, sliding the tires more, moving around. And again, limiting who can go into 5th gear. I think that helps you. You're in 5th, drop it down to 4th, go back into 5th. Like, that movement between 4th and 5th gear is really what's going to be a difference. Because again, the short track package was fine until you went to the next gen car and you had that shifting. When you only had 4 gears, you're fine. Adding the extra 5th gear gave a little bit more ability to move around and pass and go deeper into a corner, get bigger brakes. There's a whole concept with that car that comes down to the flaws of it on a short track. Bigger tires, bigger brakes, shifting into 5th gear, no power, and NASCAR doesn't address that. They just say, diffuser, spoiler, it's the shifting, it's the braking, it's the tires, it's the power. So, add more power back. That's the one thing you can really fix with this car. Right? You can go to more horsepower. That's an easy fix. Saying you can't go to a gear is going to be difficult to say, right? Or saying we're going to put a smaller tire on the car, smaller brakes. That's difficult. But that's also what made the car good on short tracks and on road courses before that was exciting, right? Guys trying to brake heavy cars with little brakes on road courses and short tracks made it exciting. So it's really hurt the package in there. So it'd almost be cool if they could run the next gen car on the the mile and a halves, and then the previous generation cars on short tracks and road courses. That's what you really need. Fuck. That's what you need. But, yeah. I mean, that's it, right? You got to make something happen where these cars can run better on those tracks. But overall, short track package didn't do much. But Toyotas came out. They absolutely dominated. Again, all four of the Gibbs cars led along with Tyler Reddick. So five Toyotas of the now 8 led laps. Ty Gibbs led the first 57, whatever. Tyler Reddick went up there and he led probably 30, 40, 50. Then Hamlin 30, 40, 50, whatever in that range. I think that they led most of the laps, all but 20, I think. Todd Gilliland led a little bit through strategy. But outside of that, Toyotas led it all. Martin Truex had a little bit at the end, so all of them went through. Eric Jones was competing for the lead with Ty Gibbs early. Really, Bubba Wallace and John Hunter were the only ones you didn't see really at the front. They were kind of a little bit further back. So, I mean, 6 of them were towards the front. Toyota absolutely dominated both races, but really, really pulled up in that race. So, yeah, interesting to see. So, next week we have trucks and Cup at Bristol. So, that is back on the concrete. We're off the dirt. So, we'll see you guys next week for Bristol.